stuff that happens blows my mind. I mean, I work for an IT company, and we put in a lot of the systems that courthouses use the first appearance for inmates, and they've started using Zoom off of just regular cameras, and it's, I don't know, it's pretty weird that they can even do that, honestly.
Yeah, it's nuts, some of that stuff.
Because you'd think high profile stuff like that wouldn't be legally able to be carried out by Zoom, but
Well, the problem is nobody thought about it because it was just the best solution for what they had to do. You know, there was
yeah,
no time to vet everything.
yeah. Man, this track is a handful when it's slicker than piss.
Now they all are, aren't they?
Yeah, I think this track is going to get super slick tonight. Limeland last week didn't get outrageously slick, but
this one always up center of the corner where you're right there on the little bit of banking there is. It's always bad. Every time I've run it here, whether it's a street stock or a late model or whatever, I suck miserably on dirt, but I know enough to know it's slick.
yeah. Late models on here are a handful. If you get anything more than a limited on here, it's like,
oh, I made
first of all, you feel like you're going 100,000 mile an hour before you hit the point where you need to turn. You know, it's like, how do you even drive these things, let alone in traffic?
Yeah, I made the mistake of running a fixed outlaw official race here a few weeks ago, and I went, holy shit.
And supers are hard to drive on a track like Charlotte, much less trying to come onto Fairbury and, you know, do good.
I mean, I suck, and part of it's because I just overdrive, which doesn't help. But
if you're good at pavement, it's hard to be good at both.
Yes, very hard.
Someone that's real disciplined in pavement, it's hard to be good in dirt, and vice versa. Pavement's not like, you know, I race dirt primarily, and going to pavement, it's like a different language.
Oh, 100%. Dirt's all about just sheer car control, and sure, you got to be consistent, but you got to be able to, you know, hit your marks and not overdrive it. And just I guess it's all the same stuff. It's
the
just
braking though, and pavement is out of control. You don't. Like in dirt, you can overdrive the piss out of a car and recover it. If you overdrive it in pavement, you're done.
Right. And that's what I've had to learn to do is just back corners up over the years. And in dirt, you can't back it up too far. And if you do throw it in there too deep, you can recover, but it's also not fast.
Yeah.
So it's
always
a whole
feel
different
like
driving style.
You know, you could do 100.
Yeah. Ten four. Turn up your detail to high detail on the grandstands and the trackside objects. Oops, hang on. Well, hello and welcome to Fairbury American Legion Speedway. Probably one of the, well, not the, but one of the tightest and most difficult dirt tracks anywhere, and certainly on the iRacing sim. There is no doubt about that. It is it's a tight one, and we anticipate this one becoming very slick tonight, and it's going to be an entertaining evening of racing here on POWRi TV. Tonight's format, much like we've seen a week ago or so, multiple heat races, about 7 or so. Then we will have 4 consolation rounds of alphabet soup heading to the 40-lap feature contest to see who ends up taking home the checkered flag here this evening. Some practice ongoing. Dason Persley, currently fastest of all racers, 12.405. His quick lap, Brendan Rogers, Anton Hernandez, Cannon McIntosh, Ace McCarthy, all in the top 5. Aiden Perdue, Kyle Spence, Emerson Axum, Carter Batterby, and Jeffrey Denny all in the middle of that one. Of course, Denny second in series points right now. He is being led by Emerson Axum. And in fact, speaking of Emerson Axum, we're going to drag him in and have a word with him. And Emerson, practice already winding down here. You entered tonight leading the points of the POWRi iRacing League, and this is a pretty stout group. 2 points is not a whole heck of a lot. How do you enter Fairbury and maintain and even extend that point lead tonight?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's not a very big lead at all. And, you know, I'm just hoping to get a good qualifying run here and just keep my nose clean and hope for another good finish.
How do you get a good finish here? We've seen so many different types of cars race here, specifically, in real life, number one. And number two, here on the iRacing service, you get the full gamut, everything from a beginner street stock, legend car type of setup through late models, sprint cars, and, of course, midgets here. How do you get through this night, because it is such a difficult racetrack?
A lot of it is just keeping your nose clean, and it's such a tight racetrack on the straightaways, and if you get into the wall, it'll bite you for sure. So most of it is just keeping your nose clean and trying really to finish the race.
Now, you've had success on some smaller racetracks, a former winner at the Tulsa Shootout in the past, and so you've got a golden driller of your own. Is there anything from those quote-unquote real-life tracks to you go to a place like this you can kind of use?
Oh yeah, for sure. Exactly, with the keeping your nose clean, like at the shootout, you just got to keep your nose clean and have a lot of luck, and that plays a lot into these smaller bull rings on iRacing.
Well, we certainly wish you the best of luck tonight. There's going to be plenty of time to mind your P's and Q's and try to get around this little bull ring that is the Fairbury American Legion Speedway. Best of luck to you, and I'm sure you'll be putting on a show for us here this evening.
Thank you.
That's Emerson Axum as he continues to make laps here at the Fairbury American Legion Speedway, and among others, we have Dason Persley also hanging around, and he too has been quick early. In fact, top of the board right now, Mr. Persley. Does that give you any false sense of security entering tonight, knowing that you're the man that can put down one fast lap here? Or can you actually learn something from practice here like that?
When the track is pretty hooked up, you kind of just make sure that you're pretty good for like a qualifying run. But when the track's slicked off like right now, you need to go make as many laps as you can to get ready for the feature because this is gonna look what it's similar like. So you got to make some good laps right now, and then you got to kind of adjust your times with like say Brendan Rogers because you know he's really fast. So me and him have been communicating here to see our lap times on the slick track, and then on the tacky track, me and Brendan are 1-2 in the Tub Sports cars. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good thing when you can be top of the board, and you guys are up there with pretty stout laps, really. I mean, there's only 4 cars in the 4s, 2 in the 5s. Everybody else is back in the 6s and 7s. So where do those extra couple of tenths come from here? I mean, I'm not asking you to give away your secrets, but how do you get that extra little edge at a place where everybody's so tight?
It's just amount of laps on this fixed setup. I texted Chase and asked if we were just going to run the baseline setup, and then he said yeah. So I just started earlier today, started making as many laps as I could, and you got to really finesse the tires here because they buy you here really quick. I've learned from that, and that's it's not fun when you get down there and hit the tires, especially on entry, because you want to carry so much speed, and then you gotta go up to the middle and then kind of just not pick the wheels up and sit them on the ground and keep them nice and balanced on your right foot.
The key word there, right foot, all about throttle control in one of these cars for sure. And you figured this out because it wasn't that long ago there was a $2,000+ to win race here on iRacing, and you ended up the victor in that one. How in the world did you swing that, and what the extra $2,000 go for? Is that going in the race fund now for travel budget when you get back rolling with Keith Kuntz and company?
Yeah, that'll get us up and down the road. Right now, we're not even spending much. I'm just kind of chilling in the house and trying to hit as many iRacing races as I can. But yeah, USAC put on an event with AME to put up some money for us when we're not getting any income right now. So I can't thank them for putting up that much money. It's pretty cool to win that much money on iRacing, especially where you just come out here and kind of race for fun, but you get to race for that big of money. But we're here with POWRi tonight, and we're gonna try to make a good run with Brennan here again when we go 1-2.
Well, we certainly wish you the best of luck. Drivers meeting commencing now, and when do you think you'll be back in a Keith Kuntz midget? I mean, we're all asking that question about any kind of race car, but do you guys have any ideas about when and where you might be racing next to actually be in the car?
We got no idea. I haven't even heard anything. We're just kind of riding it out now and seeing how much the virus still goes. I hope it ends soon so we can get as many laps as we can this year and not have to wait till December for Tulsa Shootout or Chili Bowl.
So, yeah, certainly would agree with that. Never fun to wait at all. So we wish you the best of luck, and we're about ready to turn cars loose for the last few minutes of practice, and good luck to you the rest of the night.
All right, thank you.
That's Jason Persley. He'll be riding around tonight, likely towards the front of the field, the 09 car. Currently fastest on the board at a 12.405 second lap. Pretty sporty, no doubt. And he mentioned winning $2,000 earlier in a race here at Fairbury on the service earlier. So, yeah, that probably would be your pre-race favorite, or certainly one of them as we continue on here this evening and this afternoon. See, Cannon McIntosh is on track in the 71. He's one of many. Perched and ready to go here this afternoon. Trey Marcham also taking to the racetrack. He's wide open out of the pits, right up on the banking as he makes his way out of turn number 2. So just a few moments left until we head to time trials, and that's about a 5-minute window where there'll be guys going every which way to figure out who is going to end up starting in a good spot here this evening for their heat races. Certainly no doubt about that. Of course, we alluded to Jason Persley and many others who will be hopefully sometime sooner rather than later racing in physical world POWRi midgets. And we certainly encourage you to be a subscriber, become a subscriber to POWRi TV, part of the Speed Sport TV network. If you're curious on how to do that, just go to POWRi.tv. Figure that one out if you're a POWRi racing fan. Speedsport.tv also has a link to it. You can get there that away as well. And of course, there is a link through all the POWRi various websites and things as well, so you can get your way to see your POWRi racing wherever they happen to be. Sprints, midgets, micros, quarter midget, whatever is POWRi sanctioned, all going to be covered on POWRi TV. So we certainly encourage you to become a subscriber there. It'll be well worth your money as the crew trying to get warmed up and keep themselves abreast of what's going on with some of this iRacing deal. I gotta give them props though. So the production crew, they weren't iRacers 3 weeks ago, and to be honest with you, they're still not iRacers. They're still trying to figure half this stuff out. But I'll give them all a big pat on the back to say they figured out a lot of tech in a little bit of time to make these deals happen. And there is a bunch that happens on the backside. I know people that go, this looks so simple, but it's almost more complicated to broadcast one of these than it is a physical world race. I know it seems kind of wild, but in a way it really is. So I want to give them massive props on making all that stuff happen. And they continue to improve the broadcast product each and every week as we go forth here through this isolation, shutdown, quarantine situation, whatever you're calling it, while everybody stays at home. Now, qualifying clock has begun, and teams going to be making their way out, drivers, for 2 laps around the minutely small Fairbury American Legion Speedway. Brennan Rogers is on track, Ace McCarthy, Trevor Hallman, Josh Newman, Merrill Lamb, Trey Marcham, so many others making circuits here. We'll see who ends up as the fast man in town before it's all said and done. Currently second fastest. Jason Pursley second fastest now as Brennan Rogers jumps to the top of the chart, the 20 car. Logan Rumsey's up to third. All this changing very, very rapidly. He's not going to be very happy with how that turned out. He is way, way deep in the running order here in this one. So he's going to have to do some work. One of the racers with a lot of success in the physical world that still hasn't quite figured out this whole virtual world thing. So certainly give it some time. There's about 2.5 minutes remaining in this session. It looks like almost everyone has, in fact, made a lap. A couple of drivers have yet to record a time trial attempt, and those are Sam Johnson and Blake Daniels. Those 2 drivers have yet to hit the speedway or at least record an attempt. And to kind of tell you a little bit more about the iRacing service and the software and why we specify they haven't recorded an attempt is very much this. There is an incident point system on iRacing, and what that is designed to do is to keep you from just barreling off in there and taking out your buddy or taking out your enemy with no consequence. The various leagues can set limits on incident points to where if you hit it, you're not racing. You either get DQ'd or you're prevented from advancing or you get a suspension or whatever the case might be. So there are incident points. And if you get any sort of contact during your qualifying lap, you graze that tail tank up against the wall, you hit a wheel into the outside wall, and if it senses that contact, it negates your lap. So the theory behind that being that it could assist you with a faster lap if you make contact, and that would be an unfair advantage during qualifications if you were able to, let's say, lean up against the wall and kind of have it straighten you out down the front straightaway. When you come off turn 4 a little out of control, might make you a half a tenth faster when in reality you were not. So certainly a lot of work goes into making sure that the simulation is fair, authentic, and an excellent source of equal competition for everybody in iRacing. Of course, all these drivers racing, as everybody knows by now, from the comfort of their homes or their garage, wherever it is they happen to be around the world. And Thomas Meserol just put in chat to all the drivers, I'm feeling good about tonight. Don't see that a whole lot from Team S, so we'll see if that ends up being the case. But he said he is feeling good about tonight. As I scroll down, he is he's a little deep in the running order. He's 22nd, so he'll be starting 4th in heat race number 1 by my unofficial count. So that's in a transferring position. That certainly is a good thing, but it is on the bubble. So that's not necessarily a great thing. But hey, as long as you race your way in, that's ultimately what matters. Is this qualification session is just about concluded. So we'll wait for the official heat race lineups, and they'll be gridding up pretty soon. Again, fastest you will ever see cars make their way to the lineup chute. I don't care where you're at. It is absolutely the fastest you'll ever see that happen. So we certainly look forward to seeing cars on track here as they begin to grid. And there you see on the pole this one, Brennan Rogers in the number 20. Emerson Axum going to be starting alongside Ace McCarthy there in the middle of that one as well. Top 3 making their way into the feature contest here tonight. Misspoke again earlier and said 4. It is the top 3 that make their way into tonight's feature. Green flag's out. Just like that, we are off and racing. One car up and over, caught the tire down there in turn 4, will stay green. Meanwhile, up front, Brennan Rogers, Emerson Axum, they're looking sporty. Behind them, though, the fight for the transfer spot. Brody McLaughlin, Thomas Meserol. Meserol has it this time. Actually, check that. That's Ace McCarthy up to 3rd. McCarthy races his way in for the time being. Now emphasis, contact. That sends Brody McLaughlin around. Tough break for McLaughlin. We saw a car flipping earlier. I believe that was T-Mez that went up over on the cage. Of course, he is okay, being it is in the virtual world. So McCarthy now has that 3rd place transfer spot pretty much all to himself. He's got a little bit of pressure from Joey Amantea, but in 10 laps, it'll go by in a hurry. Better hurry up if you're Joey and find a way up to and around Ace McCarthy. In fact, McCarthy's trying to reel in Emerson Axum. And this week, folks, we talked about some of the technical details. You can see the dynamic track, as we call it here in iRacing, and you'll be able to see this track slick off and where the moisture is, where the marbles are, and you'll be able to see this track change over the course of the night. And temporarily, anyway, in the interest of social distancing, even the virtual fans are staying home. They deconstructed the grandstands here at Fairbury to prevent them from showing up. That's what we did here this evening. Now, again, it's all temporary and it's all virtual. And quite frankly, it's probably the push of a button to bring them back. But, you know, nobody cares about those. We care about the action on track. This white flag going to be in the air. for Brennan Rogers. He's got a little traffic in front of him, but that's not going to be a problem. Eases his way into turn number 3. Ahead of Emerson Axum, who starts trying to wheelie that thing. He crosses second. Ace McCarthy races his way into the feature in third. Joey Amantea, Brody McLaughlin, Merrill Lamb, the rest of the finishers, they are going to have to go through the alphabet soup. So, just like that, Heat Race 1 is over, and oh, look who else is back with us. Chase Rodman for the second week in a row. You haven't gotten virtually dirty enough yet, have you, bud?
No, I have not. I just got done doing another race here, Tony, and we're getting into this next one. Just trying to get myself into the server, and we'll be ready to rock and roll here tonight, man. Really glad to be back with you, man. And I forgot to tell you, congrats on an almost victory the other night in that green egg meteor race.
We can talk about that later.
There. Yeah,
we'll talk about that one later. Certainly, yeah, exactly. We'll discuss that later. So here we go. Dason Persley, Trevor Hallman are in row number 1. Seth Schmeister is in third spot with Kenny Miller to his side. Joe Raybone, Andrew Laser, Andrew McMilepocker, Richard Lewis, and Trey Harrison make up the rest of the field. And just like that, green flag is in the air, and we are off and racing. Battle for the second and third spot, 3 wide in the turn number 3. A little bit of contact. Everybody keeps it straight. Just like that, Trevor Hallman falls back. Kenny Miller races his way into the third spot, but it is anything but over. Look, oh, hello. That was not how you're supposed to do that. I don't know what the heck happened there. If that was Richard Lewis to hit him or who it was, but that was more than a dirty slider. That was a filthy slider, I think, gone wrong there. There was no doubt about that. As lap number 3 is in the books, Chase.
Tony, I'm still getting to the server, but the way you're talking right now, it sounds like I'm missing some great action. So, yeah, we'll be in there in just a few moments to start calling the action with you here.
Watching Trevor Hallman, Richard Lewis, all trying to race the transfer spot. See Lewis up top making the outside work. In fact, now he takes the third spot over the one of Hallman. Hallman did a good job, though, making the middle of the racetrack work. Might not be the fastest appearing groove, but doing a decent job. But now it looks like he's losing some ground to Richard Lewis. And surprisingly, Hallman has not moved up, has not moved around the track. Andrew Laser coming as well, making the top side work. So Hallman, there he is. That time in 3 and 4 moves his way up, and might be a little too late. Lap number 7 complete. Hallman loses another spot as they're trading sliders back in P4. Again, this would be for a spot in the B main. We've got cars around. One car up on the outside wall after a spin. He'll keep it rolling. Meanwhile, up front, Dason Persley continues to set the pace. He's got a 2.5 second gap in the heat race.
Yeah, Tony, he picked up a $2,000 win the other night at this racetrack. So Dason Persley, he knows his way around this Fairbury American Legion Speedway in a midget. He just dominated that heat race from the looks of it.
Yes, he did. 3 second, the margin of victory on Dason Persley. Holy cow. He'll race his way into the A, followed by Seth Schmeister and Richard Lewis. Hallman, Rayburn, Malpacker, Miller, Laser, Harrison, all going to have to go to the alphabet soup. So just like that, 2 heats complete. 5 heats to go. The good news is they roll off quick here. That's the saving grace when it comes to that many heats in any given event.
Let's take a look at this third heat race lineup here, Tony. It's going to be Logan Rumsey on the pole. This one outside of him is the 8 car of Cody Batten. Row number 2 on the inside, 83 Chance Crum. Outside of him, the 25 car Michael French. Row number 3, the 33 car Bryson Smith and the 29 of Kyle Spence. Row 4, we'll see the 50 of Rico Robles. And outside him is the 14 of Ethan Bill. And then final starter looks to be the 23 car of Preston Latimus out there. He'll start in the 9th spot, but I'll tell you right now, Rumsey is going to be real tough here from the front row in this thing.
Well, we've seen so far tonight, if you start in the front row, you have a very, very much shorter mountain to climb. Let's put it that way. And wouldn't surprise me to see Logan Rumsey continue that exact same pattern over the course of the evening. Of course, we'll find out with Cody Batten, Chance Crum, Michael French, and the rest of the field bearing down on it as they work their way through turns 3 and 4. Green flags in the air. The first of 10 laps is underway, and just like that, they fan out and they cross Nerf bars a few times. A few people doinking one another in the tail, and look at this race for the lead up front. Logan Rumsey's got his hands full with the 8 of Cody Batten. This is a heck of a race for P1.
Cody Batten almost got by Rumsey right there off turn number 2. Rumsey had the momentum on the top side of the racetrack, though, to pull away from that 8 car. He runs in the second spot. Chance Crum, the 83, is in the third and final transfer spot. Behind him, Michael French and Rico Robles hanging on to the top 5 position. But, Tony, it's third place at least you want to be in here to transfer onto the feature, as we're only taking the top 3 out of these heat races.
Yeah, and top 3, certainly a place you want to be. Otherwise, 4th is not bad. Puts you in a decent spot for the B main, but anything further back than that, we've seen it be very hard to pass. Just watching this 4th spot, Michael French and company, these guys are trading all kinds of paint. They're banging Nerf bars and bending spindles, and who knows what else they're going to do here as we've got him jumping the cushion and whatnot. French still able to hold on to 4th. This is a great fight for 4th on back as the top 3 are gone.
Really is. Michael French able to get away from the 29 car of Kyle Spence and the 50 of Rico Robles. Now Robles is going to lose a spot momentarily to Ethan Bill, as now French has changed up the game a little bit, goes to the bottom of the racetrack down there in 1 and 2. Kyle Spence follows him. Now Spence runs through the middle of the racetrack down here in 3 and 4, almost tags the wall a little bit there. 2 laps to go, actually 3 to go that time by the stripe, but Spence not able to get by quite yet there of the 25 car Michael French. He's doing a great job in that 4th spot.
Yeah, French is doing a great job holding on to P4. Again, that would put him well into the B main with a good starting spot. But up front, things have started to tighten up just a wee little bit as they head off turn 4. White flag is in the air. Cody Batten trying to find something on Logan Rumsey, but he's got a half lap to do it, Chase, and I think he's going to run out of time as they pitch him into turn number 3. Rumsey mashes the gas, picks up the front tires, and he will claim heat race number 3 over Cody Batten and Chance Crum, who also advanced to the A main. Then it's Spence, French, Robles, Ethan Bill, Preston Latimus, and Bryson Smith. First race we've had tonight where the entire field finished on the lead lap, but those latter names going to have to go through the alphabet soup. All the other consolation rounds here this afternoon is heat number 4 takes to the grid on the front straightaway, and just like that, we're almost halfway through this one.
Cannon McIntosh will be on the pole. This one outside of him is the 10 of Carter Batterby. Row 2 inside 60 car Trey Osborne, and outside of Osborne is the 7 of Jeffrey Denny. Row 3, it's going to be the 17 of Christian Bruno, and a name you might be familiar with there, Tony, on the outside of that 3rd row, the 97 of Jesse Love. Row 4, it's going to be Darren Nada in the 48 and Brandon Shipley in the 02. And then 9th on the grid is going to be the 35 car of Alex Rupert. But some big names on this one, including McIntosh, Jesse Love, and Christian Bruno is a heck of a non-wing micro driver out there in the state of Pennsylvania. So some big names here in this 4th heat race.
Yeah, and there's only 3 of them. They're going to advance to the main event straight through this one. So there's going to be some hurt feelings, no doubt. Look forward as well to seeing Jesse Love doing some pavement racing next week, even tomorrow night with the Grand National Tour over on the NASCAR side. So he's going to be pretty busy as well, doing some other stuff with them too that'll come. We'll talk about at a different time probably as well. But one thing's for certain, he loves his dirt racing, and he's got some work to do here tonight as the green flag is out. And lap number 1 complete. Cannon McIntosh, he is in command of this one, puts that thing right up on the cushion. Ooh, and he's got challengers and contact behind him.
They're 3 wide right back behind him. They are going at it for the 4th spot, and those top guys are not pulling away from this Hornet's nest back here. Oh, contact, 1 car upside down. That was Jeffrey Denny. He tried to squeeze between these guys and couldn't make it happen.
Denny entered tonight 2nd in series points, so if he wants to maintain that spot in the standings, he is going to have a lot of work to do. It's hard to do it when you have to start in the E or the D main to get your way into the feature to earn all those points. So tough break for Jeff Denny, but certainly I'm sure he will continue to claw back. And And this fight for, well, everywhere, second in particular, a good one. Even the fight for fourth, also a good race, as Batterby currently has P2. And Trey Osborne in the bubble, well, he wants to move himself up one more spot, but he's working the bottom. The guys up front, they're working the top.
Christian Bruno has made a huge mistake battling with Jesse Love for fourth. He went to throw a slide job on the 97 of Love. Guess what he did? He hit the infield tire and spun that thing around, put it upside down. So Bruno is out of the picture. Now it's a 3-car breakaway up front as Jesse Love looks to try and track down the third-place car of Trey Osborne. But, wow, he's got a lot of ground to make up. He's a whole second behind that 60 car as he works behind. It looks like the 10 car of Batterby, and McIntosh has led this thing since the drop of the green flag. He's coming by this time for 2 laps to go here and heat race number 4.
And Jesse Love's moving around everywhere on the racetrack, trying to find any sort of grip, any sort of run he can. But it looks like it may be all for naught. Everything's tightening up at the front. Batterby and Osborne racing for second. Yeah, they keep this up. They might allow Jesse Love one final shot. White flag is in the air. McIntosh and Osborne, and now Carter Batterby goes to the point. He is the new leader as they cross the stripe. The complete lap number 10. Batterby is going to race his way in. McIntosh second, and Trey Osborne going to hold on to third. Love, Nada, Rupert, Bruno, Shipley, and Denny all going to have to come through the consolation rounds here this evening. So 4 heats set, 12 transferees into the A main, and we still have to set 9 more of those spots through these next 3 heat races. Chase?
An impressive run right there for Carter Batterby. That is something you got to be proud of. If you can beat Cannon McIntosh in one of these midgets on iRacing.com, he spends a lot of time running these things, and he's got a lot of laps around the Fairbury Speedway. Heat race number 5 is getting gridded up now on the pole. This one, it's Aiden Perdue, who was a podium finisher last week at Limeland Motorsports Park. On the outside of him is the 06 of Ryland Gray. Row number 2 on the inside, 56 of Braden Renfro. And outside of him is the 39 car of William Eslick. Row 3, 19, Mason McGee. And outside McGee, we'll see the 11 of Stefan Sadur. Row 4, 81, Connor Lane, and the 32 of Trey Marcham. And rounding out the field, a POWRi West regular competitor, the 24 car of Hunter Fisher, will round out the field. Him and Marcham, both regulars out here with the POWRi West series. In real life, I should say.
So you got to specify, because Illinois is not exactly west by some accounts.
I know, yeah. Well,
you know.
Yeah, the POWRi West, they mostly stay around, I believe, Oklahoma, Missouri, that kind of area. But Fisher and Marchand, they've got a lot of laps in that area of the country as the green flag is out here. Oh, one car just... What the heck? And we're stacking 3 of them up on the front stretch. I believe that was
Renfro.
Yep, Renfro tagged a tire, and his heat race comes to an end before it even starts.
Yeah, he got it rolling, but certainly lost a lot of ground. Was starting this one in third, and that's not how you want to start him. So Aiden Perdue in command of this one up front, and that little miscue in the start by Renfro allowed the top 2 to get away, and now the fight is for third, Chase. This is the transfer spot. Eslick, Sadur, Marcham, all right there in the middle of it as they cross the stripe. Sadur has it in the green car, but he might not be holding on to it for long.
Eslick just rolled himself some hot bottom right there, as we like to call it, Tony. He takes over the third spot momentarily. Sadur gets around him off at turn number 4. Eslick's pretty good down here on this end of the racetrack as Marcham just ran, that was Mason McGee who ran over the back of Stefan Sadur, and he climbed the wall and almost flipped that thing over. So now a 2-car race for third, side by side down the front stretch into turns 1 and 2. It's Eslick on the bottom and Stefan Sadur up top. Tony, I'm not sure if we lost you or not, man, but I'll just keep on going with the call here. We're on lap number 7.
Helps when you hit the right button.
Okay. I was wondering maybe you fell asleep or what, but Aiden Perdue's leading this thing here. Ryland Gray running second, and the race for third. We got 2 laps to go this time by the stripe, Tony, and it's still a good one between Eslick and Sadur.
It's very good. I was saying earlier, Sadur making the top work. Eslick, one of the better cars on the bottom. That or Sadur's just not that great up top. One of the two. But either way, it's making a heck of a show for us to watch here.
Sador now crosses underneath it. Eslick tries to take his line away, and now he slips up the track. Eslick right back underneath him. Here we come down to the white flag. Who's going to have the third and final transfer spot? It's going to be Sador. Nope, it's going to be Eslick as they roll down into 3 and 4 with the advantage. Off of turn number 4, it's going to be, I can't even tell you, it looks like it's going to be Stefan Sador.
Sador is going to get it. The difference, just about a tenth of a second. So that one little slip from Sador, or excuse me, from Eslick, cost him and will put him into the B main. So 5 complete, 2 remain, 6 spots left to assign in the A main through the heat races. Blake Brannon, the double nickel, the 55, is going to lead him down with Anton Hernandez in the single nickel to his outside. James Tiernan starts third in the 9 car. That's Josh Newman in the 3. The 000 is Bryce Lucius. And the 01 is Bryant Wiedemann. Chase McDermott, Chris Townsend, and Sam Johnson round out the field. Again, 9 cars strong. Top 3 make their way into tonight's A main feature event.
Some real-life midget drivers here in this heat race with Sam Johnson. We've got Anton Hernandez out there, and Josh Newman. That's actually Jake Newman, who runs regularly with the POWRi National Midgets. So I need to send Jake a Snapchat and try and help him get his name changed here in the iRacing service, because that is Jake Newman, not Josh Newman, out there in that Brandt number 3 car. So we'll see what Jake can do here. He's got a lot of laps around the Fairbury American Legion Speedway.
Well, and here's something a lot of people watching as we get set to go green, wondering, why in the world would you use somebody else's name? Well, iRacing bases it off of the credit card you use, the debit card you use to pay your monthly subscription fee. They have an option to change your name, but a lot of racers don't realize that is an option, and sometimes they kind of get misled by their own good intentions, I guess. So green flag is out, and look at this. They fan out everywhere as they try to find a space into turn number 3.
We're going 3 wide almost for the race lead down the backstretch right there. Now we roll down the front straightaway. Anton Hernandez is the leader. Here comes the move from the inside by the 55 of Blake Brannon. It's the 55 down low and the 5 on the outside. Now Anton Hernandez will slide himself down into the corner, trying to protect the line from Blake Brannon. They run 1, 2, and third at the moment is Jake Newman, and then James Tiernan and Christopher Townsend.
Good fight up front here, about 4 to 5 cars strong as they all try to find some place to run, figure out how they can claw their way forward. Hernandez continuing to set the pace up top, and he is flirting with disaster over in turns 1 and 2. And Chase, I find it interesting, he's up top in 1 and 2, was in the bottom that time in 3 and 4. This racetrack doesn't seem to be that much different both ends, but is it?
I don't know, man. That's one of the craziest things about this Fairbury Speedway. You never know how the bottom's going to be. We saw in a race the other night, there was 3 different groups on the bottom. There was guys right by the tires, there was guys a half lane off the tires, and there was guys kind of in the middle of the racetrack. And look at that, Brandon underneath of Anton. They make contact, and there goes Brandon to the lead. Anton's not going to be happy about that one as he slips back to second.
He's not just slipping back to second, he's slipping all over. Big slide that time entering turn 1 is one car, I think that may have been Bryce Lucius. Oh, up and over. Anton Hernandez, did he hit the tire or did he just dig that thing in and roll? Either way, his heat race is over. Big mistake there for the 5 car of Hernandez.
And it made progress out of that accident right there was James Tiernan, and guess what he did? That very next corner, Tony, he did the same thing and spun his car around. So now we move the number 6 car of Christopher Townsend, who started dead last on this field, up to 3rd after 2 guys make mistakes in the transfer spots after hitting those infield tires.
Never give up, they say. Just keep rolling. You never know what can happen. Townsend, a living testament to that as the white flag is out in this one. He's got nobody within sight of him. Brannon claims checkers, 2nd to Jake Newman. Then comes Townsend in 3rd, and whoever else survived in this one, including James Tiernan. I believe he may be one of the final cars on the lead lap. This one a little wild in heat race number 5, or heat race number 6, rather. But, hey, guess what? That's okay. The repair bill doesn't hurt the car owner tomorrow, I guarantee you.
Definitely no repair bills needed there. Behind Townsend, it was Tiernan who ended up 4th. Then Bryant Wiedemann. Sam Johnson was in the 6th spot. Then Chase McDermott, Anton Hernandez, and Bryce Lucius rounded out the field. One more heat race left to run here, Tony. We've got 62 drivers here tonight. and that equals out to 7 heat races. That's unbelievable. Here we go for the final heat of the night. It'll be Robert Dalby on the front row. Alongside him, Blake Daniels. Row 2 inside of Whit Nisley in the 46 car. Outside of him is Nathan Vandewacker. I really hope I'm saying that one right. Nathan Vandewacker. Row number 3, Jake
That's
Trainer.
on you, bro.
Okay, perfect. Jake Trainer and Manning Urish in the third row. And then we got Trey Gropp and Riker Pace rounding out the 8-car field.
So Dalby's going to have 7 people gutting for his spot. One less driver than we've had in previous heats. We'll see if that makes any sort of effect on the outcome. Doubtful. We've had some great racing so far. Plenty of mistakes from these drivers in the tight confines. Is the Fairbury American Legion Speedway. So we'll see how it plays out here for these 10 circuits. 60 laps of racing complete. Looking complete 70 this time. Green flags in the air, and already some guys hitting the tire on the initial start. Dalby jumps out to the initial lead and uses all the racetrack on exit. And that car on the outside of him, that's what we often refer to as warp, Chase. And what that is, that driver's internet connection not cooperating, essentially, is what usually happens with those.
Definitely not ideal. I would hate to be Robert Dalby right now as he's trying to run side by side with that driver, Blake Daniels. It looks like Daniels has got it figured out. Maybe his Ethernet cable came loose in the back of his computer. He reached over, plugged it back in because he's back on the racetrack. He's sliding for the race lead. Dalby turns it back down to the inside. He'll reclaim the lead into turns 3 and 4, but Daniels will have the run off of turn number 4 down the front stretch and looks right back down to the inside of the 4-car of Dalby.
Oh, and Dalby almost had to pull an over-under crossover move there and didn't need to yet, but look at this. Daniels, he caught the wall. Great save by Daniels. He had that thing up on 2 wheels exiting turn 4. It was caged into the fence nearly, but guess what? He hung on to it. He's got to fight for third now on his hands with Whit Nisley, but you know what? I'd rather be fighting for third and second and 2 seconds off with the car still rolling than what could have been a moment ago.
Absolutely. That was a very close call for Blake Daniels. Now he does slip back to the third spot as Whit Nisley gets by him. Daniels trying to come back at him on the bottom of the racetrack. The bottom has speed. Look at that right there as he pulls back up to the side of Whit Nisley. So some of these guys need to realize, man, there is a lot of moisture down there, and it's a lot safer, I think, than running up next to that concrete wall. Blake Daniels gets back to second, and he is absolutely moving down on the bottom of the racetrack here, Tony.
Yeah, you can see that's a little bit darker dirt down there by those tires, but a very narrow lane before it begins to slick off. So Daniel's certainly treading very, very carefully down there, and so far it's working for him. We're starting to see this track right up there, that first groove, maybe even the second groove up towards the wall, starting to slick off a little bit on entry, Chase. We're starting to see him push the cushion up towards the outside wall, and you mentioned it. That's starting to flirt with danger. You hook that right rear on the concrete, and it could be curtains for your night.
Absolutely could be. It is Robert Dalby leading the race, followed by Whit Nisley, then Blake Daniels, Trey Gropp, and Nathan Vandewacker. I did get confirmation in the Facebook chat that is how you say that one, Vandewacker. Thanks to Brian Vandewacker for telling us that was pronounced correctly. The checkered flag is out. Robert Dalby gets the win here in the final heat race of the night. Whit Nisley second, Blake Daniels, those 3 drivers heading to the feature event. The rest of these guys will have to try from either the E main, D main, C main, or the B main. That was Trey Gropp, Nathan Vandewacker, Jake Trainer, Manning Urish, and Riker Pace.
Logan Rumsey was a fan of Blake Daniels in that last one, said he's out there selling T-shirts apparently with that kind of performance. So we know Logan Rumsey is a Daniels fan, and he'll get to watch more of him in the feature here tonight. Meanwhile, the E-Main, 8 laps, top 3 move their way to the D. So the E-Main, for those that have had an kind of night, gets ready to roll off. This is the shortest race of the night, Chase, 8 laps in distance. Anton Hernandez going to lead him off in the pole with Riker Pace, Tyler Chalk, Trey Harrison, Bryson Smith, Jeff Denny, Hunter Fisher, and Bryce Luchas. Some decent names that might have a shot at going home here early.
Anton Hernandez definitely should not be here in this E-main event. We saw him make a huge mistake in his heat race, hit an infield tire in a transfer spot a couple nights ago. Anton actually won $1,000 for finishing second in a race here at the Fairbury American Legion Speedway against some really great competition. So Anton is definitely a guy that might be able to run the old alphabet soup up here tonight, Tony. And we're starting in the E-main. That's a lot of bowls of soup to eat there for Anton, but I think he can get the job done.
Well, we're about ready to find out if he can get the job done. Again, 8 laps is all he's got to do, and he's got to beat 5 guys in this one. So not an exceptionally tall order, but an order that he has to perform nonetheless. Green flag's in the air, and already Tyler Chalk, and I believe it might have been Riker Pace, touching wheels on the start. Look at that, they fan out 4 wide into turn number 1, trying to fight for P2, and that is where the action is, as we got a couple of them sideways getting into 3.
I'll tell you what, another driver selling some T-shirts. It's the number 7 car of Jeffrey Denny. Ran the top, drove by 3 cars, now throw the slider on the driver that was running in second, Tyler Chalk. So keep your eye on Jeffrey Denny here. He is on the move. I think he was another one of those drivers that had an accident running very well in his heat race earlier on, Tony, and he's fighting his way back. Here comes a slider inbound from Tyler Chalk. He wasn't able to get there in time, and Jeff Denny drives back around him on the outside.
Yeah, Denny drove around him on the outside, now trying to make the inside work. Heat 2 all over the racetrack, and again, that moisture down low, nobody seemed to be able to use a lot of it. A few guys have put the left fronts in it, but not a lot of weight there, and starting to see Denny be able to hook the right rear in it and make that thing get some forward drive. And sure as we say that, he slides up the racetrack and through the slick stuff, and guess what? They're still fighting for P3 behind him. This is getting good, guys. 3 to go this time, and the battle is for the transfer spot, Chase.
Only a few laps to go here, and only 3 drivers making it into the D main event, as it's Bryce Lucius and Tyler Chalk. Chalk's into the wall. He's upside down, and good night, Tyler Chalk. He will load what's left of that race car on the virtual trailer after that mistake right there, and that allows Bryce Lucius to pull away with a sizable advantage over Bryson Smith. He's got about a straightaway lead over that 33 car, so it looks like Lucius can coast home from here as they come around for the white flag.
Yep, white flag this time, and he has got a large gap back to Bryson Smith in 4th. So keep it between the tires and the walls, and you'll be in good shape if you're in the top 3. Jeff Denny almost bought the farm that time on the backside, but he's able to hang on to it. Checkers to Anton Hernandez, Jeff Denny, Bryce Lucius. Top 3 will continue on. Smith, Fisher, Pace, Chalk, and Harrison, who looks like he did not make the call for this one. All going to have to load it up, pack her in, and watch this one from the stands as the D main set to roll off 10 laps in distance. Again, top 3 make their way into this one.
On the front row of this D main event, I think Tony calls it the Doe main. It's going to be Braden Renfro on the pole. Next to him is the 40 of Chase McDermott. Run number 2 on the inside, 49 car, Manning Urish. And outside of him is T-Mez. Thomas Meserol has got some work to do here tonight in that number 34 car. Row 3, another driver that is surprising to see in the D main, Andrew Laser on the inside, starting 5th. Outside of him is the 23 car, Preston Latimus. And then in the 4th row, we'll have the 02 of Brandon Shipley, the 19 of Mason McGee. Row 5, Anton Hernandez, Jeffrey Denny, and Bryce Lucius. Those 3 drivers obviously coming out of the E main event. But really going to be watching Thomas Meserol and Andrew Laser here. Tony, some real-life midget drivers with a ton of experience and a ton of success. They've got a little bit of work cut out for themselves here.
Yeah, they do have work cut out for them, and, what we've seen so far, though, if you could just survive the heats and survive the alphabet soup, you might have a shot, but you got to make sure you do it and do it quickly. A lot of these races are not so much won in the first lap or 2, but they certainly have been lost. Pace truck is off the racing surface, and just like that, we are off and racing. Renfro, McDermott lead them down to the green flag, and they fan out in turn 1. Everybody trying to find their spot, and look at this. Up front, we've got a race for the lead.
Definitely do. Your race leader is Chase McDermott, but dive into his inside is Braden Renfro behind those guys. T-Mez having a good run so far. He's into the wall. There's the commentator's curse as Meserol climbs the wall, able to keep it all on 4 tires, but he slips back at least 5 spots, and he's got his work really cut out for him now. Everybody's kind of on the bottom of the racetrack with the exception of, now they go back to the top in 1 and 2, so it seems like bottom 3 and 4, top 1 and 2 right now, Tony.
That's what it looks like at the moment, and sure as we say that, they all slide up top to the outside wall 3 and 4. Yeah, you can race anywhere right now. As this track, it's starting to look pretty good. I mean, yeah, it's starting to slick off a little bit, but I'll tell you one thing, it's not useless in the middle. There's some guys making some hay right there and trying to find some sort of groove that works for them. So there's a cushion, there's an inside, there's some space in the middle. We've got leaders going up and over. That's Chase McDermott who's going for a roll in the backside.
Received an unwanting right rear tire from the 56 car, Braden Renfro. That's as unfortunate right there. Mason McGee now takes over 2nd. And here comes Anton Hernandez. Yes, ma'am, I'll have another bowl of soup as here comes Hernandez to the inside of McGee trying to go for 2nd. He wants every spot he can get to start farther up in tonight's C main. Anton is putting on a show here in this one, Tony.
I'm glad you specified soup because I was starting to question Meanwhile, Renfro and McGee side by side. Look at Hernandez. He's making the very inside work over there in 3 and 4 and not losing any ground. Look, there's also traffic now. Chase McDermott right in front of the leaders as they work their way through turns 3 and 4. 2 to go this time.
Remember, McDermott did get that right rear from current race leader Braden Renfro, so not sure if he's waiting on Renfro. I don't want to think like that, but you never know what could happen in this thing. If McDermott waits up a little bit and runs into your race leader, what just happened behind him? Anton trying to slide job wasn't clear. Mason McGee, now McGee almost gets into Renfro as they come around. It looks like this is the final corner right here.
Guys, you're in the show. Don't burn it up, and look at Hernandez. Massive slider. He's not going to have any success with it. Renfro, McGee, and Hernandez, they will transfer to the C main. Lucius, Laser, Latimer, Shipley, Urish, Denny, McDermott, and Meserol all got to put on the trailer, and that's big news for Denny. He was second in points heading into tonight, and that's not good when you end your night in the D main. Not good for the points by any means when the guy you're chasing raced his way into the A. Meanwhile, C main is grading on the front straightaway. 14 cars strong. Chase 12 laps the distance, and once again, top 3 race their way in.
Of real-life midget drivers here in this one, including your entire front row there. Merrill Lamb in the 15 car alongside the 22 of Andy Malpacher. Row number 2 on the inside, 50 car of Rico Robles. And outside of him, the 35 of Alex Rupert. Row number 3, 81 Connor Lane and the 72 car of Sam Johnson. Row 4 should be the 53 of Jake Trainer and the 68 car Ronnie Gardner. Row 5, 43 Kenny Miller and 14 Ethan Bill. Row 6, Christian Bruno, and then your drivers out of the D main, Braden Renfro, Mason McGee, and Anton Hernandez, who might be getting a little bit full right now after all this soup, but he's going to try and have another serving here, so to say, here in this C main. We'll see if he can get the job done as the pace car pulls into the infield.
Pace car is in. We'll see what happens this time. Green flag is in the air, and just like that, we're off and racing yet again. Didn't quite fan out as widely as we've seen that time in turn 1. Track may be losing a little bit of grip as we see him now 3 abreast through turns 3 and 4.
There is at least 8 different lines of racing at work. Car upside down big time. He sets it back on all 4. And Anton Hernandez will miss all of that action.
Wow.
He's almost into the top 5 as they're banging wheels right in front of him. Anton, he just got turned from behind. His night will more than likely come to an end as he gets it turned back around, but he's way behind the field now.
All the way these guys are running to each other. Upsy daisy. That's the 15 car. Merrill Lamb is up on the tires. That's another spot for the 5 of Hernandez. Nothing is impossible yet the way these guys are running into one another, Chase. This has been the most... they're wrecking everywhere. This has been the most aggressive heat we've seen. Problems for the 4th place driver. That was Jake Trainer, I believe. Actually, Ethan Bill having issues. Ran to a slower car, so... there's all kinds of things happening. This race is far from over, even at this stage.
I mean, this is more of a demo derby here in the C-Main than it is a race. Andy Malpacher, the Amsoil number 22, has pulled away with the race lead, followed by Connor Lane. And in 3rd, it's Sam Johnson, who's made his way up to P3 from 6th. He's in the final transfer for now. Got in the slick stuff right there, almost spun the car around, but maintains 3rd nonetheless. 4th is Jake Trainer, and 5th at the moment, it appears to be Braden Renfro.
So they get all this sorted out. Finally, they get spread out just a little bit, and that... whoa! Hello. So yeah, Sam Johnson, all kinds of sideways looking for P3.
And there's some...
And Chase went MIA on that one, boys. I don't blame you, Chase. It caught my breath and taking it away, too. So working our way towards the end of this one, up front, Connor Lane setting the pace. He's got Andrew Malpacher trying to chase him down. Jake Trainer now in 3rd, and those 3 have got about a straightaway back to Kenny Miller in 4th, Rico Robles in 5th. Anton Hernandez has made his way to 6th, but without some help, it's going to be a very, very tall order to race his way in. White flag. Well, excuse me, 2 laps to go. White flag this time by, Chase. So down the back straightaway. Top three, not going to change. Lane, Malpacher, Trainer. Those will be the three that transfer into the B main. Coming up here in just a moment. Kenny Miller, Anton Hernandez, who got the fifth. Sam Johnson, Rico Robles, Christian Bruno, Mason McGee, Renfro, Bill, Gardner, Lamb, and Rupert. All done for the evening, unable to make the A main here tonight. So tough break for them as the 17-car B main set to go. 14 laps to distance. And once again, as has been the trend here tonight, Chase, top three make their way into the show. So this is how they'll roll down to the green flag. Joey Amantea, Trevor Hallman, Kyle Spence, Jesse Love, William Eslick, and James Tiernan, the top six. Then it's Trey Grott, Brody McLaughlin, Joel Rayburn, and Michael French in row 5. Darren Nada, Trey Marcham, row 6. Bryant Wiedemann, Nathan Vanderwacker, Connor Lane, Andrew Malpacher, and Jake Trainer, the transferees, tagging on at the tail of this one. It's more 14 laps. Top three will race their way in tonight's feature contest. Green flag in the air. And they'll fan out, they'll touch tires. Trevor Hallman trying to race his way in. He's making the top side work. Well, almost the top side. They're banging Nerf bars, hitting bumpers. And everybody gets away scot-free. A couple of guys sideways in the back. Top 6 drivers or so separating themselves now from the rest of this field. And it's anybody's race. Look on the bottom. There's Jesse Love. Oh, what up and over on the wall. I think that might have been Nathan Vanderwacker. Tough break for him. Trevor Hallman gets turned. Picks up the gas. He'll keep digging, but he lost a bunch of real estate in this one. Up front, things are settling out. And look on the bottom here, Chase. Again, that bottom lane really starting to pay off as Tiernan continuing to hook around the tires.
Yeah, sorry about that. Had some connection issues there, but James Tiernan doing a great job right now up there at the front of the field as these guys are trying to make their way into the show. The final time to do it right now, man. B main event. These guys, it's go time, Tony, and these guys are really putting it all on the line here.
They are putting it all on the line, and Jesse Love in a position to race his way in. He is in the transfer spot, and he's got a fairly healthy margin back to Brody McLaughlin, Trey Gropp and company, but nothing has been safe yet except once you cross the checkered flag. So comfortable, probably the best term we can use right now. And look who's coming. Brody McLaughlin looks like he is reeling in Jesse Love. Last time by, nearly 2/10 faster. That 59 car might have something again. A full 10th faster than Love. Can he do it here? He's got 14 laps. Still 6 laps to go this time. It's a very, very doable task for Brody McLaughlin.
The 97 of Love does not look too comfortable right now. He's running that thing in the middle of the racetrack. No grip right there. He tries to get to the cushion, but he's about a half lane away from it. Meanwhile, McLaughlin is absolutely rim riding that thing on the wall right now at the Fairbury American Legion Speedway. One lap car to deal with. The lap car pulls up right in front of McLaughlin, and that's not going to make him too happy as he loses a little bit of ground to the 97 of Love as they're coming around this time for 4 laps to go.
Yeah, Love trying to make the bottom work this time, and you know what? He might run out of... Oh, watch out! Contact with the 9 of Tiernan. Tiernan now in the transfer spot. He's in danger of losing this one. And you know what? Anything's possible here. And, well, Jesse Love had also some connection issues of his own, so there's all kinds of things going on with people flipping and flopping and doing things that we otherwise wouldn't expect. So now, unofficially, Brody McLaughlin has raced his way into third. Yes, ahead of Jesse Love as those two make contact. Up at turn number 4, that's for the transfer spot.
Oh, McLaughlin hit. They both hit the tire. They hit the tire. McLaughlin lands on all 4 wheels, keeps going, and he's fighting now with Connor Lane. We're coming for the white flag. Lane with a slider. McLaughlin back down to the inside, and now McLaughlin's going to have a lot of room behind him. White flag is in the air, but that was unbelievable stuff right there.
Flip it over, run into a guy, lose 2 spots, pick him back up, and race your way into the A main. That's exactly what Porter McLaughlin did in the last 30 seconds. He finishes 3rd ahead of him, Tiernan, and the winner of this one, Kyle Spence. Connor Lane, Trey Gropp, Trey Marcham, Malpacher, Hallman, Vanderwacker, Love, Trainer Nader Rayborn, Wiedemann, Amantea, French, Eslick, all done for the night. And if this features anything like that one, oh, mercy me, this 5-minute warm-up chase, we need it to catch our breath as the sun continues to set here, and you see the track. Looked like it might have got a little farming done there. They added some water to this thing in the very brief break between sessions, so it's got a little more grip now, looks like.
It definitely has a lot more grip, but there is still quite a bit of slick stuff right there on the entrance to these corners on both ends of the speedway. So these race officials gave these guys a 5-minute warm-up, as you mentioned there, Tony, to try and burn off a little bit of this moisture because that racetrack right there for the B main, we definitely had 2 grooves of racing, but we want to try and bring back some moisture, make it not so dusty for these guys, and maybe bring back in a couple different lanes that we haven't seen in a while. But these drivers now making their last-minute adjustments to their race cars and getting a last look at the Fairbury American Legion Speedway before a 40-lap main event here for the POWRi West Midgets here on iRacing.com.
Yeah, and this one's going to turn out to be a good one. This track, if it does anything like it did through the heats, it's going to be very mint when it comes time to go racing. We've seen it slick off, widen out. I mean, there was a cushion, there was an inside lane, there was everything you could have wanted. Cannot ask for much more than that. Hey, POWRi Racing fans, a reminder as well, once everybody decides, or it is decided for them that they can go racing again, POWRi TV is your one-stop shop for all things POWRi Racing. Doesn't matter what division, what track, what weekend, you can catch it all live and on demand from POWRi TV, a member of the Speed Sport TV network. You can go to POWRi's website for more details and become a subscriber. Join the POWRi revolution that is sweeping around. They get to control all their content and all their images and all kinds of really neat content. Basically, they're going to be spitting out for you over the course of the season once we're all allowed to leave our houses or wherever we happen to shack up over the course of our lives. So once they sort that out, then we'll have racing on POWRi TV. But certainly look forward to all of that as 24 cars have gridded Chase, and we are set to go for tonight's 40-lap feature.
Here's how they're going to line up for tonight's 40-lap main event for the POWRi West Midget League here on iRacing. It's going to be Brennan Rogers on the pole. Next to him, the 9 car of Dason Persley. Row number 2, it's going to be the 41 car of Logan Rumsey and the 10 of Carter Batterby. Row 3, 37, Aiden Purdue, and the 55 of Blake Brannon. Row number 4 is the 4 car of Robert Dalby and the 42 of Emerson Axum. Row 5, the 16 car Seth Shabester, and outside of him is the 8 of Cody Batten. Row 6, Cannon McIntosh, Rylan Gray, and then we have Jake Newman, Whit Nisley, along with a lot more drivers, Ace McCarthy, Ricky Lewis, Chance Crum, Trey Osborne, Stefan Sadur, Christopher Townsend, Blake Daniels, Kyle Spence, James Tiernan, and Brody McLaughlin. Green flag is in the air, Tony, and we're underway for 40 laps.
Listen to those virtual midgets scream.
Cars turned around at the back of the field. I don't know who that was. Looks like Ricky Lewis got upside down. We are staying green for now, but the race up front is a good one between Brennan Rogers and the 9 of Dason Persley. 2 different grooves being utilized by your top 2 drivers. Rogers on the bottom and Persley on the top. He's chased down by, it looks like, the 3rd place car of Carter Batterby.
Yeah, Batterby's there in that one, and you see a couple cars down the bottom that kind of lost out on that, but nonetheless, we'll stay green as Batterby trying to make things happen. Currently riding P3. That's been a very Chase. That's been a very pleasant surprise for Batterby to have a good run. He's had some terrible luck the last couple of races, but right now solidly up towards the front in position number 3. But chasing down Rogers and Persley, and again Persley, the big winner here not too long ago, $2,000 richer. He's probably the guy you got to gauge yourself off of.
Definitely is, but remember last week here when we were at the Limaland Motorsports Park, Brendan Rogers was the winner, Persley was second. So these 2 guys are the class of the field in my opinion there, Tony, unless something happens to one of them. Rogers doing a good job up front, still obviously a lot of laps to go, and sounds like something possibly happened behind those guys.
Yeah, Jake Newman, well, now he is on his lid over in turn 1. There were a couple other drivers caught a piece of stuff as well over in turn 4, but we stay green for the moment, and that's good news if you're Pursley or Rogers. Allows you to continue to run your race, and Rogers starting to find that inside lane to his liking, and Pursley, a big slide. That car got very tight in turn 3. It allowed Batterby to motor right around on the outside. New second place runner, Carter Batterby.
Pursley nearly hit an infield tire that last time by through 3 and 4. That made his car, when he got on the brake, it got really tight, and he lost that spot to Batterby. Now he works back down the inside, reclaims the second spot in the WR1 Sim Chassis number 9 car. Back into 3 and 4 this time by. Pursley's got second, Batterby back to third. And then Blake Brandon runs in the 4th spot. Behind him is Emerson Axum. He's making some hay up there from 8th up to the 5th spot as Rogers has extended his lead out to 1.5 seconds over Jason Pursley on lap number 12.
This race has gone green flag since the word go. Lap number 12 currently being worked. This is, I think, one of the longest green flag runs we've had so far in our broadcast season. So these guys getting the job done here at one of the tightest, smallest tracks on the circuit. And they're putting on a heck of a show here as Jason Pursley trying to find himself some way up to Brennan Rogers, but he has got, he's got everybody behind him trying to chase him down. And again, multiple grooves everywhere. You see all the different points of moisture in this track chase. There's plenty of grip to be had.
Rogers, you can see him up front trying different lines right now. He's got the luxury of having a big gap back to the 9 of Pursley. He can try stuff right now. He's not being really pressured at the moment, and it's allowing him to try different things, see where the speed is at in his race cars. Pursley is doing everything he can to try and track him down. Still a great battle going on for third, 4 cars strong between Batterby, Blake Brandon, and Logan Rumsey is there as well. That lap car of Jake Newman is right there. Oh! And Rumsey has got a left rear from Blake Brandon, and he spins into the infield.
Well, that's never a good thing. Whoa, more sliders being served up. Blake Brandon just put another one on the 3 car. And, well, guess what? Jake Newman, probably not a fan of that one, although he is a lap down. So Newman, after being on his lid, is back and rolling, albeit he is not in position for this one. Neither is Aiden Perdue. And kind of a lackluster performance from Aiden Perdue, but he was caught up one of those opening incidents over there in turn number 4, and that's what set his night ablaze, so to speak. So traffic has been negotiated for the top 3, and Batterby, Pursley, and Rogers starting to pull away from this one. And tell you one thing, we have not seen somebody this dominant in quite a while as Rogers is beginning to catch the tail of the field as we cross the halfway point.
I was going to say, Tony, they are definitely not in the clear here as far as lap traffic goes. There are guys throwing sliders side by side right in front of Brennan Rogers, and a couple laps ago he had one of those lap cars actually half spin right in front of him, had to take evasive action to miss that driver, and now Rogers coming up on a heated battle back there in the pack between Chris Townsend, Chance Crum, and Kyle Spence. So Rogers, oh, there's the caution. First caution of the night comes out on lap number 22, and Brennan Rogers definitely going to breathe a sigh of relief right there as he was coming up on a heated battle at the back of the field.
Yeah, there were some incidents over there. I think in turns 1 and 2 might have been where it happened. Not sure, but either way, caution has been thrown by race control, so we get a chance to re-rack them and restack them. And if you're Jason Pursley, Carter Batterby, I don't know if you like the fact that the caution just came out or not, because I'll say one thing. Look at the lap times. Rogers, nobody's even close. His fastest lap of this race is a 12:69. Pursley's a 76, Batterby an 80. Again, nobody even close to that 20 car. He seems to be the class of the field right now.
In my opinion, there's nobody better on iRacing as far as the midgets and the non-wing sprint cars go than Brennan Rogers, man. He has just got something figured out in these race cars, in these non-wing and midgets, the open wheel type race cars. There's nobody better than Brennan Rogers, and he's looking to pick up another win and add it to his resume here. Pace car is off. We got 25 down and 15 to go. Rogers back on the hammer. A good start, though, for Jason Pursley on the outside, Tony.
Very good start. Rogers, a little slide there in the center of the corner. Is that going to be what it takes? Pursley on the outside. He's got the momentum. Rogers slides up. New leader off turn 4. Dason Pursley taking full advantage of the restart, but don't look now. Sliders for sale. Here comes Rogers with a full plate full.
Rogers took the lead momentarily. Now Dason Pursley gets back by him. They work down the front straightaway. Cat and mouse game up front. Where do they go? Back to the top of the racetrack in 1 and 2. Rogers runs a diamond line off turn 2. Big run down the backstretch, but Pursley will block the slider line. Rogers has to shut it down, tries to run the middle of the racetrack. They're still about 2 car lengths separated as they head back into 1 and 2. Pursley might have tagged the wall a little bit right there in 1 and 2.
Problems
cars
for
wrecking him right in front of him. Oh my, look out.
Yeah, caution was out for Kyle Spence, who had stalled it over there in turns 3 and 4. Spence had an incident with another car. You can't quite see who that was, but that car had pulled away. And ultimately, Spence was the cause for the yellow. And that'll slow us down yet again. With now less than 10 laps to go, we're going to be going back green. And that's not a lot of time. Now, here's the question. Can Brennan Rogers, can Brennan repay the favor that Dason Pursley gave to him? Remember, you don't have the option of where to start in iRacing. It's just the way it's coded. It's kind of hard to pick it. You're programming a computer, not artificial intelligence. So Pursley has to start on the bottom. Does Rogers use that top lane to his advantage, you think?
He does. He might not be very happy with Dason Pursley because Pursley might have maybe timed that start just right, or he might have jumped the start a little bit because he was right next to Rogers on the restart. So Brennan might try and return the favor here on this ensuing restart. Looks like we're going to have about 7 laps to go, so it's going to be a shootout here to the end at the Fairbury American Legion Speedway. Pursley, Rogers, Batterby, and then Cody Batten in the 4th spot. Green flag is back in the air. Fantastic restart for Brennan Rogers, Tony.
Very good restart, forcing Dason Pursley to use the bottom, and Rogers rim rides around back to the point. Pursley now fighting for his proverbial life as he is back in second. It's time by lap 33 is complete, and Rogers just about ran it over the wall. Big mistake by Rogers. He kept his foot in it, and look at this. He's got everyone breathing down his neck, Pursley included, and Rogers continues to show the way.
I don't know how he held on to that thing, Tony. He was right side time. Oh, who is that? Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Cody Batten just threw a bomber for the ages. Almost went by Pursley and Rogers. He slips back to the 3rd spot, but I don't think Pursley was expecting that right there, Tony. And he lost a ton of ground to Rogers, and now Batten looks to the outside of Pursley for P2.
Pick your lane. You can make it work here tonight at the Fairbury Speedway. There is no doubt about that. Look at Batten now outside of Pursley. He'll force him down to the bottom and nearly takes out Rogers in an errant slider. Oh, mercy me. Things are getting dicey back here. Brennan Rogers better go and go quick. And look at this. Who else is there? Logan Rumsey up to 3rd now. Just threw a bit of a dirty slider on the 8 of Cody Batten.
And trying to return that favor down into 1 and 2 right there, but Rumsey got away from him, rightly so. He does not want to be anywhere near Cody Batten right now after that, like you mentioned there, Tony, a little bit of contact on that slide job. Batten continues to drive it in deep, trying to get to Rumsey, but Rogers coming around turns 3 and 4 this time by. White flag looking for 2 wins in a row with the POWRi West Midget League here on iRacing.com.
Rogers nearly slipped it in turns 1 and 2, but he keeps it straight through turns 3 and 4. One final chance for Pursley, who can't get it done. Brennan Rogers going to win here at the Fairbury American Legion Speedway. He'll claim his 2nd victory in a row here at the Tour before they go to the Chili Bowl. Yes, to the Chili Bowl next week. That one's going to be fun as Brennan Rogers will cross the proverbial scales. And oh, look, the virtual car always weighs the right amount. So he'll park it down there and maybe do a little victory celebration. But Brennan Rogers beats Dason Pursley, Logan Rumsey, Carter Batterby, and Whit Nisley, the top 5 to the stripe. And man, that was probably one of the best shows we have seen, Chase. That one was really good through and through here tonight.
It sure was. And how about James Tiernan ends up in the 6th spot after starting 23rd on the field. The 9 car is definitely the hard charger here tonight at Fairbury Speedway. I can't do math that quick, but I think that's 17 spots gained for the 9 car of James Tiernan to come home just outside the top 5. He put up a fantastic fight here tonight, but overall, no one had anything for Brennan Rogers here tonight. And Tony Stevens, it sounds like we've got Brennan up here in the broadcast booth with us.
Very quickly out of that car, and he's probably running about as fast as his heart is beating right now. If we put a heart monitor on you right now, Brennan, what would the number be?
Oh man, it'd be 10,000 beats a minute here. Dason racing with Dason, and I knew Logan and all those guys were back there. They keep you honest, and the Dason got me good on that one restart, and I was like, well, that was it. He's so sharp that I didn't think I'd get him back unless I got a lucky restart myself. And fortunately, double file the outside line really favored you starting second, so I got a lucky break into one and kind of got back around him there. But no, those guys, I mean, you don't just beat Dason and Logan Rumsey over nothing. They make you earn it.
Well, yeah, everybody earned it up front tonight. That was some of the most intense, wild racing we have seen here on POWRi TV with the iRacing stuff here in quite some time. And man, I'm sure it's got everybody at home wanting to know how to do this stuff and how to get into it. But there's a lot of work you put into this. I mean, you guys have figured out the lines in this deal, how to hold each other off. How in the world do you hold off a guy like Dason Pursley when you know that he's trying everything behind you to find some sort of grip on this racetrack?
You just got to stay one step ahead. I mean, you got to know the options. I mean, it's not a guarantee that the top one corner and the bottom one corner is going to be there. You just got to know when it's time to go there and if you can hit it right. So it's like I said, man, staying ahead of those guys, it just takes hitting your marks. You can't focus on them. You got to focus on you and be the guy to beat. And that's what we do, and that's what we try to do at least. And it's worked out the last couple of races. I just wanted to thank you guys again for putting together the show and letting dorks like me race. And you even brought up if you're interested in doing this stuff. I mean, I'm running a 11-year-old steering wheel and a single monitor and a desk chair, so it's not the most elaborate or shiny setup, but it gets the job done. And you don't need to spend $1 million like you would in a real race car or anything like that. You can just get a decent computer and race with the boys. So it's a worthwhile investment.
Yeah, I would certainly agree with you there. I mean, yours truly, we have this very similar setup, just a single monitor and a wheel, and with a decent enough computer, less than $500, and you are up and rolling. So certainly good news. Next week, we go to the big long building in Oklahoma, aka the Chili Bowl. Do we expect the same type of performance from you there?
Hey, I'll do the best I can. I can't promise any results, but I can promise I'll do my best to put on a show with the boys. I mean, just to get to race with some of these guys that, I watch in real life. I don't get to race with typically, but I get to watch these boys, and they race a hell of a race in real life, and to race with them on here is a blast. And I mean, any chance I can, I'll be in there racing.
Well, we certainly look forward to seeing you there. Brennan Rogers, victorious here at the Fairbury American Legion Speedway in one heck of a show. Route racing, probably one of the other top guns when it comes to midget racing on the service. That is Dason Pursley, Chase Rodman. I think you've got him.
Yeah, let's hope my internet holds up here for this interview. Dason, second once again to Brendan Rogers for the second week in a row. You didn't go down without a fight, though. You had a fantastic restart there, the second to last restart with maybe 10 or so laps to go. Man, we thought that you might have pulled off the victory there. You might have snookered Brendan a little bit, but end up P2, a fantastic race by you, and this racetrack was really, really good tonight.
Oh yeah, this racetrack was really, really good, and I'm glad they put the track state to 30 and then didn't let us rip it all on the warm-up. But congrats to Brendan again. It's tough getting second to him, but I know he's one of the best on the sim. So it's good for Tops Up Your Butt Esports team to get 1-2. Looking forward to it. And then that restart was really good. And in that Fairbury, for some reason, the top gets really, really good restarts here, and I don't know why. And then I got to lead, and we had that restart, and I knew Brendan was going to get back by me when he was on the top there.
And yeah, it just seems like the competition tonight was just so thick. I mean, obviously, it seems like you and Brennan are kind of the top dogs, I guess you should say. But it's cool to see this league, this iRacing league, have so many of the real world midget drivers like McIntosh and Hernandez and Chance Crum and Robert Dalby, Ronnie Gardner, all these guys. It's really, really cool to see all these guys come together and run this league on a weekly basis. It really makes these guys that aren't the real life drivers have to step up their game, and I guess even the real life drivers need to step up their game as well to run good in this series.
Oh yeah, this POWRi has a lot of talent here. I think we got like 62 cars, which is like the cap on a session. So there was plenty of guys in here, stout competition, and we were just for like good enough to put in the show and get a good heat race and start up front, and then battles for the top 3 all night.
Was there anybody else you got to thank? Obviously, Tops Up Here Butt Esports is the main sponsor on that car, but anybody else you got to thank for the second place run tonight?
I got to thank WR1 Sim Chassis and of course my mom and dad.
Dason Persley, P2 to Brennan Rogers for the second week in a row. Maybe next week at the Chili Bowl, Tony, he can bring home the win. But second, great run for him. And third tonight is Logan Rumsey. And, Tony, you're going to have a word with him.
Yeah, Logan made a good charge there at the end to make your way up to the front. How did you survive all the have you got heartburn right now with all the sliders being served? Because it was pretty intense back there. How do you do that and not end up on your lid?
Yeah, I got a pretty bad start there. It's kind of hard to start on the bottom with this setup. You get really tight. And there was cars all over the track. There were lap cars and all that. So I kind of had to wait until I was on the outside on a restart before I could start making stuff happen.
And you made stuff happen. And with the track changing and everybody getting so aggressive, I mean, were you worried about any of the other stuff that could have taken you out? We saw a number of sliders go bad or nearly go bad back there. Do you just kind of put that out of your mind and focus on hitting your marks and hope it all ends well?
Yeah, you try not to dirty people up when you slide them, but it happens sometimes. And I think we neck hood, but me and Cody Batten made contact in 3 and 4, and he was kind of trying to take me out the rest of the race. I had to deal with that.
Well, sometimes those things happen. You make a new friend along the way. But you know what? It wouldn't be racing unless we made a couple of friends along the way. And I'm sure you two will talk about it and get it all figured out. Next week is the Chili Bowl, Logan, and I know you're pretty good at this stuff, but that's a very different racetrack, probably one of the flattest anywhere. Very different style of driving, it seems like. What's it take to go fast there, and can we expect to see you up at the front?
Yeah, I actually really like that track. It's really fun. Run the top, the bottom. You can run everywhere.
And a place you can run everywhere certainly is a plus, no doubt. Despite how small that facility is, it does put on some good racing. So congratulations on a third place run, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.
Thank you.
That's Logan Rumsey, Chase, and just like that, tonight's broadcast is pretty much over with. That one didn't take very long at all, and you know what? I like them that way. We get them in, we get them done, we get a lot of action, and everybody can go on their way and get their cheeseburger for the night.
That's my favorite part about the iRacing events, man. I mean, we run 7 heat races, a D, a C, a B main, and a feature in around an hour and a half. I mean, that is pretty incredible. You know, real life is better, but you got to drive the 2, 3, 5, 7, 8 hours to the track, and then you got to sit there all night long and, watch all the other classes run and all the, the support divisions and all that stuff. Here, we got one class running. We're in and out an hour and a half. A lot of fantastic racing, slide jobs, a lot of wheel banging, people bouncing off the fence, people running over infield tires, a ton of action here at Fairbury. And I'm really excited to see what these guys will do next week at the Chili Bowl.
Certainly looking forward to it. Of course, you can see that race live on the POWRi TV network of partners, including, of course, POWRi's social channel, Speed Sport TV, my company, Pit Road TV, also airing these as well, and a number of other places around the internet where you can watch some great dirt midget racing with the POWRi group. We certainly are excited about being partnered up with them and having them as part of the Speed Sport TV family for the next handful of years. So that's going to be a good thing whenever we're able to drag the race cars out of the garage and out of the barn and out of the trailer and actually go to a racetrack. Hopefully that, again, is sooner rather than later. But until then, we wish health towards everyone, and certainly hope you're entertained with various forms of racing that many didn't know about. And Chase, look forward to next week when we go to virtual Oklahoma and head to the virtual Chili Bowl. And again, it might be virtual, but there's still a lot of prestige on the line, and I got a feeling these guys are going to put that much extra effort into it.
These guys, I mean, they're already making so much contact on these, some of these bigger tracks. We go to a place that's a fifth the size of any of these other tracks we've ran on so far this season. You go to the Chili Bowl, man, there's not a lot of room for error. You'll be running into somebody. You'll be hitting the wall. You'll be flying out of the ballpark. It's going to be really exciting. 62 of the best drivers on the iRacing simulation and a lot of drivers from real life.